Hello, everybody. This is The Home in the World by Rabindranath Tagore. Chapter 12, Bimala's Story, Part 23. Come, come, now is the time to set sail towards the great confluence, where the river of love meets the sea of worship. In that pure blue, all the weight of its muddiness sinks and disappears. I now fear nothing, neither myself nor anybody else. I've passed through fire. What was inflammable has been burnt to ashes. What is left is deathless. I've dedicated myself to the feet of him who has received all my sin into the depths of his own pain. Tonight we go to Calcutta. My inward troubles have long prevented my looking after my things. Now let me arrange and pack them. After a while I found my husband had come in and was taking a hand in the packing. "This won't do," I said. "Did you not promise me you would have a sleep?" "I might have made the promise," he replied, "but my sleep did not, and it was nowhere to be found." "No, no," I repeated, "this will never do. Lie down for a while at least." "But how can you get through all this alone?" "Of course I can. Well, you may boast of being able to do without me, but frankly I can't do without you. Even sleep refused to come to me alone in that room." Then he set to work again. But there was an interruption in the shape of a servant, who came and said that Sandeep Babu had called and had asked to be announced. I didn't dare to ask whom he wanted. The light of the sky seemed suddenly to be shut down, like the leaves of a sensitive plant. "Come, Bimal," said my husband, "let's go and hear what Sandeep has to tell us. Since he has come back again after taking his leave, he must have something special to say." I went, simply because it would have been still more embarrassing to stay. Sandeep was staring at a picture on the wall. As we entered, he said, "You must be wondering why a fellow has returned. But you know the ghost is never laid till all the rites are complete." With these words, he brought out his pocket, something tied to his handkerchief, and laying it on the table, undid the knot. It was the sovereigns. "Don't you mistake me, Nikhil," he said. "You must not imagine that the contagion of your company has suddenly turned me honest. I'm not a man to come back in slobbering repentance to return ill-gotten money. But—" He left his speech unfinished. After a pause, he turned towards Nikhil and said to me, "After all these days, Queen Bee, the ghost of compunction has found an entry into my hitherto untroubled conscience. As I have to wrestle with it every night after my first sleep is over, I cannot call it a phantom of my imagination. There's no escape even for me till its debt is paid. Into the hands of that spirit, therefore, let me make restitution. Goddess, from you alone of all the world I shall not be able to take away anything. I shall not be rid of you till I'm destitute. Take these back." He took out, at the same time, the jewel casket from under his tunic and put it down, and then left us with hasty steps. "Listen to me, Sandeep," my husband called after him. "I've not the time, Nikhil," said Sandeep as he paused at the door. "The Muslims, I'm told, have taken me for an invaluable gem, and are conspiring to loot me and hide me away in their graveyard. But I feel that it's necessary that I should live. I've just 25 minutes to catch the northbound train, so for the present I must be gone. We shall have our talk at the next convenient opportunity. If you take my advice, don't you delay in getting away either. I salute you, Queen Bee, Queen of the Bleeding Hearts, Queen of Desolation." Sandeep then left almost at a run. I stood stock still. I'd never realized in such a manner before how trivial, how paltry this gold and these jewels were. Only a short while ago I was so busy thinking that I should take with me and how I should pack it. Now I felt that there was no need to take anything at all. To set out and go forth was the important thing. My husband left his seat and came up and took me by the hand. "It's getting late," he said. "There's not much time left to complete our preparations for the journey." At this point, Chandranath Babu suddenly came in. Finding us both together, he fell back for a moment. Then he said, "Forgive me, my little mother, if I intrude. Nikhil, the Muslims are out of hand. They're looting Harish Khandu's treasury. That does not so much matter, but what is intolerable is the violence that is being done to the women of their house." "I'm off," said my husband. "What can you do there?" I pleaded as I held him by the hand. "Oh, sir," I appealed to his master, "will you not tell him not to go?" "My little mother," he replied. There's no time to do anything else. Don't be alarmed, Bimmel, said my husband as he left us. When I went to the window, I saw my husband galloping away on horseback, with not a weapon in his hand. In another minute, the Badarani came running in. What have you done, Choti darling? She cried. How could you let him go? Call the Dewan at once, she said, turning to a servant. The Ranis never appeared before the Dewan, but the Badarani had thought the day for appearances. Send a mounted man to bring me the Maharaj at once, she said, as soon as the Dewan came. We've all entreated him to stay, Rani Mother, said the Dewan, but he refused to turn back. Send word to him that the Badarani is ill, that she's on her deathbed, cried my sister-in-law wildly. Then the Dewan had left. She turned on me with a furious outburst. Oh, you witch, you ogress, you couldn't die yourself, but needs must send him to his death. The light of the day began to fade. The sun set behind the feathery foliage of the blossoming sajna tree. I can see every different shade of that sunset, even today. 2 masses of cloud on either side of the sinking orb made it look like a great bird with fiery, wet-feathered wings outspread. It seemed to me that this fateful day was taking its flight to cross the ocean of night. It became darker and darker, like the flames of a distant village on fire, leaping up every now and then above the horizon. A distant din swelled up in recurring waves into the darkness. The bells of the evening worship rang out from our temple. I knew the Badarani was sitting there, with palms joined in silent prayer, but I couldn't move a step from the window. The roads, the village beyond, and the still more distant fringe of trees grew more and more vague. The lake in our grounds looked up into the sky with a dull luster, like a blind man's eye. On the left the tower seemed to be craning its neck to catch sight of something that was happening. The sounds of night take on all manner of disguises. A twig snaps, and one thinks that somebody's running for his life. A door slams, and one feels it to be the sudden heart thump of a startled world. Lights would suddenly flicker under the shade of a distant tree, and then go out again. Horses' hooves would clatter now and again, only to turn out to be riders leaving the palace gates. I continually had the feeling that if only I could die, all this turmoil would come to an end. So long as I was alive, my sins would remain rampant, scattering destruction at every side. I remembered the pistol in my box. But my feet refused to leave the window in quest of it. Was I not awaiting my fate? The gong of the watch solemnly struck 10. A little later, a group of lights appeared in the distance, and a great crowd wound its way, like some great serpent along the roads in the darkness towards the palace gates. The Dewan rushed to the gate at the sound. Just then a rider came galloping in. What's the news? Jata asked the Dewan. Not good, was the reply. I could hear these words distinctly from my window, but something was next whispered which I didn't catch. Then came the palanquin, followed by a litter. The doctor was walking alongside the palanquin. What do you think, doctor? Asked the Dewan. Can't say yet, the doctor replied. The wound in the head is a serious one. And Amulya Babu? Oh, he has a bullet through the heart. He's done for. The end.